You face the boss of blades.
Hello, Slingers, and here today we have a new version of Garruk. This build in particular is a combo-centric build that still builds upon the aggro element that Garruk is known for. We notice there is a change in the land. We are running Westvale Abbey, so if we take 13 damage, then we add a Demonic Priest, which is a 2-2 with essentially lifelink. At the start of our turn, we deal ourselves 1 damage, which is generally not favorably good against aggro decks because of the ability to take burn damage, but it does draw us closer to Death Shadow in matchups where we may not otherwise be able to Death Shadow against decks that rarely try to prey on our life total, such as Sarah and Nissa. In particular, there is some things that are really cool you can do with the Demonic Priest, so that is another thing that we are running this land for. For only 1 drop, we are running 2 Channeler Mites, just a simple 2-2 for 1 that gets the +1/+1. If we have a 5 power or greater, which we are running 8 creatures, including Crab the Unredeemed. So we are more likely going to drop a Channeler Mite as a 3-3, and though we may actually wind up 50% of the time not having a 1 drop, the deck makes up for it in its ability to derive an endgame. So we are running some card draw effects. We have Dark Confidant to draw cards on attack. We are running Merchant of Death to draw cards upon death. Sometimes we will just axe our Merchant of Death to trigger a creature die trigger and then be able to drop a Gluttonous Goo. Goo being a very good creature. On average, he is a 7/7 for 4 that has the ward ability, so he will generally be able to live the turn you play him, and is actually really good with Silent Strike combos for that reason. So we are of course running the staple 2 copies of Infectious Scorpion. Upon death, it adds a Fatal Infection to our hand, which puts a delayed death trigger on a creature, meaning at the start of our turn we will have the death trigger that we so much need for some of the combos, as well as dropping the goo. Then we are running probably the best removal in the game, of course, Grudge Match. Just give a creature +1/+1, choose an enemy creature, and they fight. A lot of these, other than maybe the Merchant of Death, are pretty much just staple for the archetype, as you may notice. We are running, of course, Cursebearer, 2-3 for 2 with Trample, and at the end of turn, if a creature died, it gets +1/+1. And here we are very specifically wanting it for the Trample ability, because we could load it up with some of our combo pieces and be able to take our opponent out by trampling over them with our threats. Then we have Blood Queen Drana, 2-3 for 3, flying, and when it deals damage, she gains that much health. Oftentimes, you will axe her up, and she is pretty much free to axe and just get continually bigger, because she will gain back the health after she deals it. On average, she'll swing for 3 or 4 damage, and then be able to buff her health up to 5 or 6 off the bat, which is very good for dealing with aggressive strategies just the same. They were, of course, running the 2 Wildspeaker's Fury. Most of the time, it is just a flagrant foul, but we can also use it to try and take damage. And for 3 mana, it is probably one of the best removal spells you could be running in a Garruk deck. Then we are running the 1 of Silent Strike. Very common to run 1, sometimes 2 copies of Silent Strike in order to act as an endgame for Garruk to finish off opponents. However, as you will see in the gameplay, we are also using it as a part of our combo, which we will get to. So then we have Crab Unredeemed, 7/7 for 4 with Trample. On debut, he deals 6 damage to another creature or himself. A few players in the community have proceeded to drop Crab from their Garruk lists, despite them also running Death Shadow. I mean, you will sometimes want to Crab your face to be able to drop an earlier Death Shadow. We are mainly using him for his ability to use Trample in this particular deck, and as you'll see in the gameplay, he does in fact trample very, very hard. Nothing in the game other than maybe a Goo or an opposing Crab is really good at that stage when you play him on turn 4. So there really isn't a lot of competition, and he will mostly stick unless your opponent has a hard removal. Then, of course, we are running 2 copies of Veiled Curse Predator, card that arguably needs a nerf. 5/4 for 5, fights the enemy creature with the least power. If it survives, you can repeat. Very strong card. Unfortunately, it is super good. It will often trade for your opponent's entire board sometimes, or just clearing out the path. And almost no matter what, it will trigger Garruk's ability to give +2/-1 to a creature. We are running our 1 copy of Confidant, who is a 6/6 for 6 with flying, and we can make deals. We can either take 4 to draw 2 cards, take 4 to gain 3 mana, or take 4 to give +6/+6. A lot of the time with this deck, we are actually using the draw effect versus the +6. However, certain matchups, of course, dropping a 12/12 for 6 mana with flying is absurdly strong and game-winning. They were, of course, running the staple 2 Death Shadows, 13/13 for 20, but it costs less for every damage you've taken this game. Death Shadow serves multiple purposes in this particular deck. We do just play it and sometimes strike it to be able to take out our opponents off of the silent strike hits, but we are also using it with another card in the deck to be able to buff another creature with our Death Shadow being in the graveyard. So now we are actually going to go on to the combo pieces. We have 2 copies of Bloodseeker Bat, 1/3 for 2 with haste. On debut, it gives a friendly vampire flying this turn, which it is a vampire, so it can give itself flying, which on itself does not seem super remarkable. However, we have Thornhide Gauntlet, one of the main combo pieces of this particular list. It is a 3-cost artifact with 2 charges. We give a friendly creature +2/+0 this turn for each time we targeted it this turn. So if we were to play a Bloodseeker Bat, then we were to Thornhide Gauntlet it. Because it has already been targeted once, Thornhide Gauntlet will give +2/+0. And then if we use the axe on Garruk, then our set Bat will swing in for 6 damage with flying and haste. Unfortunately, Garruk's ability, despite it saying the word give and following every sequence of a Johnny, it does not actually trigger for the effect of Thornhide Gauntlet, which does feel like an oversight or a balance case in this particular instance. For instance, if you were to axe the bat and it did count for the Thornhide Gauntlet, you'd be swinging for 8 damage, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Then we are running 2 copies of Ghoultree Infusion, 4 mana. Give a friendly creature +X/+X, where X is the power of the strongest creature in your graveyard. Now, unfortunately, in our gameplay, we did not have any copies of Death Shadows in the graveyard. Otherwise, we'd be able to give our creature a massive, massive power boost by using the Ghoultree Infusion to give +13/+13 to a creature, and then Thornhide Gauntlet to give it additional power on top of that. Now, the great thing about it is if we do have a Death Shadow in the graveyard and we have a Demonic Priest that we got off of Garruk, then Ghoultree Infusion will let it become a 15/15. That will also heal us for 15, which is absurdly strong and very difficult to lose an aggro matchup if you are able to do that at any given time. Now, in terms of Thornhide Gauntlet, we actually have a large amount of cards that do trigger it. We have the Bloodseeker Bat that does target itself. Then we, of course, have Grudge Match, which does actually target a friendly creature as well. Then we have the 1-of copy of Silent Strike to give +2/+0 and Sneak. Thornhide Gauntlet does, of course, include itself. So if you leave a Thornhide Gauntlet at 1 charge and then use the ability, and then play a second Thornhide Gauntlet and use the ability of that one, you will actually give the creature +6/+0. And then we, of course, have the Ghoultree Infusions that also do target and will trigger for buffs from your Thornhide Gauntlet. Well, that is going to do it for the deck list. Now we will move on to gameplay.
All the memories we made under the summer sun, chasing after waves, a taste of berries on my tongue, sipping on a feeling, sunny's got me healing, vibing out to your guitar. I don't wanna go yet, watch another sunset, wishing on a shooting star. Ooh, I know that it has to end. Ooh, maybe
door, yeah. Nowhere left to go, I just need to stay alone, yeah. Need to stay alone. I've been on my own, yeah. I've been on my own. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. I don't know, you got me out of control. I need to let it go, yeah, let it go, yeah, let it go. Tell me how to love, now you got my heart all locked down. I just wanna feel your body. My heart is a ghost town, I don't need no love now. That's cause I don't need nobody. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. I don't need to show up, waiting for the right time, baby, you don't know. I'm trying to see space now. You got me feeling this now.
Sleep, yeah. Only miss you when I'm breathing in too deep, yeah. Am I just your little secret? I didn't hear the sirens. I didn't wanna see the warning signs, and now I pay the price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave every time you say my name. It hits me like a tidal wave. It hits me like a tidal wave. A tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave. Patient on the shoreline. Now you're leaving, but I know you got your reasons too. I didn't hear the sirens. I didn't wanna see the warning signs, and now I pay the price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave every time you say my name. It hits me like a tidal wave. It hits me like a tidal wave. A tidal wave.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these
Memes.
on this
Game.
this isn't working. Let's go to hell and kill Satan.
Hey! This motherfucker got them fake J's!
Skill issue.
And now, the main attraction.
Delay magic. True です。
It's gonna be huge.
Ultra Combo!
What are you doing, step bro?
You didn't see anything.
And his name is John C.
Never had a gas off. Oppas fool me, so I put my mask on. Keep the two of me, gotta keep the 9 high. Flexing Louis V, yeah, keep my cash on. Sticking true to me, I never had a gas off. I'ma pop off, yeah, I said I'll pop off.